How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is David here with Math Tutorials 14. And so today, this is the 6th episode of our podcast. In this episode, we talk about Springtomize 3 developer Flippo Bigarella adds a new update with new custom animations and more. New tweak guest mode allows users to have a guest feel and UI of their phone. GBA for iOS 2.0 released to the public. Apple takes us by surprise and releases iOS 6.1.6 and 7.0.6 to the public, and much, much more. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's David here with Math Tutorials 14, and so today this is the 6th episode of our podcast.
I am here with my co-host, Max from Another Apple News. This is the 6th episode of our podcast, so Max, go ahead, say hi.
What is going on, YouTube? Another Apple News here. We're back with the 6th podcast, right?
Yeah.
Lost track. So we haven't done one in a while, so we're kind of getting back into the swing of things here. So we have a lot of topics covering last week, right?
Yeah, so first, so how's your week been going? I know you had a couple of exciting things, some not exciting things happen to you. So you want to share?
Sure thing. I was sick for the majority of the week, and I went on a sleepover last night and then didn't have school. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. David, How was your week?
My week was good. Had a lot of homework. But yeah, a lot of things we have to talk about. So, do you want to get started, Max?
Sure thing.
Okay.
Alright, so our first topic that we have for you guys today is Cylinder. Now, this was in the news last week, and I'm not sure about this week because I haven't really caught up. But it's a very cool tweak, and its competitor is now Barrel. So what it does is it gives you like the rotation effects that Barrel would give you. I know that me and David got it, and we both enjoyed it, and we liked it over Barrel. But then last week we saw that Barrel was coming out with new transitions. So it's sort of like they're in a competition.
I don't know. To who's better, Aaron Ash with Barrel or whatever developer that is with Cylinder. I mean, and then, which we'll talk about soon, Springtomize 3 was just updated with new app-to-app transitions, is what Flippo Bigarella calls it. So, you have all these different companies going or not companies, but different developers going against each other with similar tweaks. So it's just something cool. So yeah. So Cylinder is a very nice tweak. But I don't know. I'm starting to like Springtomize 3 a lot better because of there's now, like I said, there's a new update with app-to-app transitions, and we'll get into that later because we have a whole topic about that. So next thing we have to talk about is Weasel. Now, Weasel, if you're familiar with Alfred for the Mac, it's basically the same thing. It's basically Spotlight searching, except you can go in and type in different command prompts. So say you wanted to respring your phone, so you just go into Weasel and you just type in respring and you can type enter, and you are then able to respring right from Weasel. So that's pretty nice. So yeah. So the next thing we have to talk about is Max Axe is the free app of the week, which is actually not true anymore because this is actually
week, right?
Yeah, that was last week. And I believe this week is what? Last one was Toka Cars, the last one we did. So this one is Max Axe, and then next one, I don't know what the next one is. I haven't really checked because it's been like it's been like a weird week for me this week. But on the bright side, from now until, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, from now until April 7th, Tetris is now free on the App Store. So it's actually, so it's actually really fun. I'm not much of a Tetris guy, though. But, if you like Tetris, you'll probably like this. So It is 99 cents through the App Store, but there's a way to get it. You just go on the App Store and download Apple's official app, and then to the Apple retail stores, and then you go under offers, and then it should say Tetris. So from now till April 7th, you can get that for free, which is pretty nice. So next thing we have to talk about, which is definitely big, is one of Apple's last things that Steve Jobs invented is now predicted to be phased out later this year with the release of iOS 8. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about the iPad 2. So they're saying it's rumored that the iPad 2 will be phased out with iOS 8 later this year. So yeah, that's a lot to take in. So what are your opinions of that, Max?
Well, I mean, Apple has to phase out everything sometime, sooner or later. And my phone, which I have, the 4S, is going to probably be phased out pretty soon. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I would say that would be the next, pretty much one of the next to go. We have the 4. So the 4 will definitely be in the iPhone line. That will definitely be the next one to go. But if all the iPhone 6 rumors are true, we could see a lot more of the iPhones phased out altogether. So that could mean the 4S, the 4, the iPhone 5, a bunch of just different phones being all phased out at once because now we have a different product. So I don't know. I could be completely wrong. We won't know until they're saying till June, but if not, it'll be going, with the regular trend of Apple devices, and we'll be hearing about it in sometime in the fall. But that's something to talk about later. The next thing we have to talk about is we're getting into tweaks here again. So next thing we have to talk about is Blueboard. Now this is sort of made irrelevant by this new tweak. It's called like color board or whatever. I forget what it is, but it's like $2.99. But Blueboard is free, and basically what this allows you to do is it has a kill switch in the settings panel, and basically you can enable it or disable it, and it makes your keyboard blue. This is probably one of my favorite keyboard tweaks, that and color keyboard, even though that has not since been updated to support iOS 7 yet. Hopefully it's going to support iOS 7 soon. I don't know, but we'll have to see. So I definitely like that. The next thing we have to talk about is Mobius. Now, this is a new one that came out recently, a couple months ago, and it actually lets you sort of have a wraparound feel. So even when you have no more pages, it sort of just repeats it when you keep sliding. So it's one of these tweaks that's actually pretty innovative. I definitely would have never thought that iOS would have had that in the beginning. What do you think of that, Max? I mean, it's a pretty useful tweak, I think. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't get it yet because of how behind I am.
Yeah.
So, but I still think that it is a very good tweak that I can use and would be very useful to me.
Mm-hmm. Now, the next thing we have to talk about, this is awesome. Probably of this list, one of my favorites. It's called UI Colors. Now, if you don't know what we're referring to, it's basically I think it's like $1.99 on the Big Boss repo, but you can get it. And basically, it changes up the entire user interface, which is the UI of the phone. So you can choose to have the entire UI be blue, be yellow, be orange, any color you want. And it's sort of like I forget what it's called. I think it's called something to do with night mode. I forget what it's called. But it was a tweak that came out a little while ago also, and it's similar to that, but it's a little bit different because now it's just not black and dark colors. That's to the user interface. It's also blue and orange and yellow and red and all the colors you can think of. But it's pretty awesome. I use this, and I think it's pretty cool. What do you think, Max?
About the UI colors?
Yeah.
I mean, very important, just like all of these that we're talking about. I actually got this on my phone, and it is actually a tweak that I like.
Mm-hmm. Now the last thing for tweet, I'm just gonna skip around here because I don't want this to turn into a really long one. But this is definitely really really important, and this is something Max and I are loving to talking about. We love to talk about this, but anyway, so Flippo Bigarella released an update for Springtomize 3. I think it was Thursday. But Max did not actually have a chance. Did you update it yet? I don't know.
What, Spring Tomize 3? Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. So yeah. So this is a very important update for Spring Tomize 3, the tweak itself, because it actually brings new animations to the table. It brings the old TV tube animation back, which is great. I love that on iOS 6 and iOS 5 and previous iOSs. So it's great to see that making a return. And then we have new ones like there's a zoom out and zoom in animation. There's the blur animation, like when you respring if you lock the device. There's a whole bunch of different animations. But I think the most important thing that we have to talk about is the app-to-app transitions that Flippo Bigarella added. Now this is definitely one of my favorite, different things, and I know I say this a lot, but it's a really good Springtomize 3 for the amount of things that are in it right now, and he just keeps updating and updating it. So the amount of things that are in it right now for the $2.99, guys, it is well worth the price. But anyway, basically. There's different lock animations, as I said, and there's icon scrolling animations, so you can pick from a huge list from none to rotate counterclockwise, stairway up, roll page, clash, bubble, tear apart, shuffle, interlace, a bunch of different things that are pretty awesome. Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite aspects of Springtomize 3. So now we have a debatable topic. So which do you think is better? Do you like cylinder better? Do you like barrel better? Do you like Springtomize 3 better? What do you think, Max?
I
Max?
like. Well, you can't really. Oh, yeah, you can add Spring Tomize 3. Hello? Is it recording my voice?
Yep.
Oh. I thought that it wasn't. Alright. But you can't really, like. Before, what's it called? Cylinder came out, I liked barrel better. But then Cylinder came out, and then, I was like mind blown that this is a very good tweak. I have to get it. I have to tell David about it. And then Spring Tomize 3 came out with an update. And then I was like, all right, an update, that's pretty good. It helps the community. So then I was like, and then an update for Barrel came out. And then I was like, all right, now I know, like, they're at war with each other. So, I used to like them all. But now I like, what's it called? Cylinder better.
You like so even with all Flippo Bigarella's changes, you still like cylinder better?
Yep.
Okay, well, I do like cylinder still. So it is still in the beta repo. It's still in the beta stage. So there's still a whole lot of improvements and different things that can be added and taken away from cylinder. And it's one of these things that are good because it is actually an open source tweak. That if users know the code, they can actually go in and add their own custom app-to-app transitions, which the other two, unfortunately, do not have. So that is something that's probably, for most developers, is probably essential to have. That way they can, sort of fool around with the OS of it and figure out, well, now I know how, the core functions are and stuff like that. So I think it's probably something to utilize there. But, yeah, so the next thing we have to talk about is guest mode. So guest mode is pretty awesome. I'm just going to sort of skip around. I know there was like one more there, but we're not going to talk about that. But guest mode is pretty awesome. Basically what guest mode allows you to do is, and I know I'll be using this a lot in the future because I know, when I go places, some people may want to use my phone to see certain things. They may need it for stuff, and I may not want them to see to be able to have access to every single thing on my phone by, a tap of the finger. So this, basically what this allows you to do is there's a kill switch in the settings, and it basically allows you to put basically right where it says enter your passcode, there's a new button where it says guest, and you tap that, and basically it allows you to restrict the guest's privileges in the app. That way, say you only want them to be able to make a phone call and be able to text. So you only put those two on. So, and if you have Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, they cannot access that. It will just not let them access that. So that's a pretty neat tweak, and it's essential to get if you guys have kids. For anyone watching that has kids, or that has brother or sister that uses it, a younger brother or sister that uses their phone or iPod or whatever, that likes to go in and do some stuff, and you don't want them always looking through your stuff. So this is a unique tweak, and it's very welcomed to the jailbreaking community. Do you think you'll be using it a lot, Max? Because I know you have a younger sister. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I'll probably use it.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna say the next topic is Barrel, but I think we pretty much already covered that, talking about how Barrel got new transitions. There's a couple new ones, but it doesn't really compare to what Cylinder and what Spring to Minds 3 are bringing to the table. So all in all, I think Barrel had its time, got updated for iOS 7, but I think now Cylinder and Spring to Minds 3 are sort of on top of Barrel now. Yeah, in terms of sales, I think they're sort of taking over where Barrel was, unfortunately. So the next thing we have to talk about, now this is big news. Next thing we have to talk about is GBA for iOS 2.0 was released to the public on February 19th, 2014. So that was only a couple of days ago. So it got pushed out to the public after a long wait. So this does bring full iOS 7 integration, as well as full 64-bit architecture, iPhone 5S and iPad Mini Retina support to it, which is nice, and you do not have to be jailbroken on this to be able to get this. It lets you download it from iOS 7 to the latest version of iOS 7, which would be 7.0.6, which we will talk about soon. But anyway, now I know I've used this emulator in the past. I know I've used it now, and I love it a lot more. Basically, this version fixes a lot of the bugs that were found in the first version of GBA for iOS, and a lot of sound bugs and stuff like that. Have you used it at all, Max?
No, I didn't get it. Well, I saw you post on Instagram, and you were like making massive posts on there.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it yet.
Well, I'm a big fan of old school games. I like the Mario and the Sonic and all those old school games. So when I had heard that this old school game emulator was coming to iOS for iOS 7, I was very excited. But they basically had pushed it off and said soon, and we did not know about it until, I want to say, a month ago, when the developer actually announced when it was going to be released. And I didn't find out about it until like a week and a half in advance. So I didn't find out about it for a very long time. But anyway, so the next thing we have to talk about is, now this is pretty awesome. New developer WinOCM announces he's going to be working for Apple in the next quarter of the year. So that's pretty neat. So that means, hopefully that means we might get some jailbroken things put into the normal OS of the device, which would be amazing. I really hope that happens. That way, because I think Apple at this point has realized there are a lot of things that jailbroken users have that we would love to implement into our iOS. But while there are some negative things to being jailbroken as well, being exposed to malware, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. But hopefully WinOCM could sort of convince them to maybe develop some stuff that maybe has jailbreak tweaks inspired. I don't know, but maybe we'll get that far. Who knows? But anyway, so this is a big thing. This was completely unexpected. Yesterday, Apple released iOS 7.0.6 and iOS 6.1.6. It was issued to the public yesterday. So basically, it brings to the table basically an old bug that was found in the iOS from 2009, and basically it does not patch any of the jailbreak utility, which is great. So there's actually a jailbreak for 7.0.6, but it has not been officially released yet. So just keep in mind, that while things have not been officially released yet, you don't want to toy around with anything. But it is safe to update. It will not take away the advantages and disadvantages to jailbreak. You will still be able to do that. So so it's a surprise release. And you will not actually, there's two options. You can either restore through iTunes and update that way if you're jailbroken, or do the OTA. But anyway, so now I Hate Snow did confirm, as I said, that 7.0.6 does not patch the Evasion 7 jailbreak, which is amazing. It's nice. Now the next thing on the list is, so actually if you guys saw my tutorial, which I'll link that if you guys want, the tutorial I just uploaded last night. It was how to jailbreak the iPod Touch 2nd generation, the MC model. Now it was very hard. I went through a lot of hard work to try and figure this out because it kept saying that the jailbreak is failing. When I did everything that everyone was saying, I looked it up a million times. I wasted a lot of time on that, but I finally figured out how to do it. And if you're wondering how to do it, it will be in the tutorial in the description below. But anyway, to move on, we're going to jump around here. So the next thing is Iris. Now, Iris is a new theme that makes iOS 7 look how it really should look. So, Max, have you had a chance to demo this on your phone yet?
Not yet.
No? Okay, well, do you know what this theme is, right?
What's it called? Iris?
Yeah. Did you see my Instagram post? Because I did do one.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I didn't get it yet, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is, I believe it's $2.99 in Cydia, and it's, like I said, a new theme that makes iOS 7 how it should look. Some of the apps just in default iOS 7, they don't look good, so with Shurinix's developing skills, he tweaked that around a little bit, and now we have a much better UI for the tweak, and it altogether just looks great. There are, as well as with that, there are also brand new wallpapers specifically for that theme that actually come with it, that are inspired by that theme, which is nice. So the next thing we have to talk about is, now this is surprising. Facebook bought, a couple of days ago, Facebook bought the popular messaging app WhatsApp for $16 billion. Wow. So anyway, so this came as a huge surprise to everyone, that Facebook bought this for that much, I'm running out of things to say for this, but I never really used WhatsApp, really. I mean, I've heard of it, and it's basically a texting messaging application that it's really utilized overseas for people that can't get data plans. So it's useful for that, I guess. I really have never used it before, but Facebook bought that, and we actually, there was a story that came out too a couple of hours later, that Google also had tried to buy WhatsApp for $10 billion. So it looks like Facebook and Google were trying to compete with each other to try and buy WhatsApp, but Facebook won and they bought WhatsApp for $16 billion. So that's a lot of money when it comes down to it, really. $16 billion. Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So do you think what do you think is in the future with this app? I mean, I've never used it before. I don't know. It's just, will it turn into Facebook messaging? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll co-develop something. But yeah. So the next thing we have to talk about, and then that will be it. Then we'll wrap up. The last thing we have to talk about, that I actually, what's the next thing? Hold on one second. Okay. So the next thing I skipped is App ETA. I did skip that. Okay. So App ETA, basically what that allows you to do, it's been out for a little while, but basically what that allows you to do is it actually allows you to bring back the percentage, the old iOS 6 percentage installation, where when it installs, it has that progress bar instead of that little clock thing when you're installing an app on iOS 7, and that can get a little bit annoying. So this is a tweak that brings back that, as well as you can change it to have other animations. So it's a pretty nice tweak all in all. What do you think about it, Max?
Oh, well, all the tweaks that we were talking about today were kind of like giving them a lot of credit, but all of these are very good tweaks, and we have to talk about them and say how good they are.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode of Let's Talk Tech, episode 6. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to tune in next week for Let's Talk Tech, episode number 7. Same time next week, Max?
Yep, most definitely.
Okay. All right. See you next week.
See ya.
Peace.